Okay, sorry to keep you waiting. We changed up our practice schedule today because got our second practice in of the week here, and this morning I didn't think we'd be able to get it in this afternoon, so I had to go out there and get it done, which made me a little bit late to this, and apologize for that. Okay, Iowa State, looking at their through their film. They're without a doubt the most competitive 2-9 team in the country. That's for certain. People can say what they want about how they're no good. They've been in plenty of games. Had a chance to win against Texas Tech. Recently against TCU. Halftime against OU, it was tied, I think. And then last week they saw them beat Kansas 35-0. So, extremely competitive football team. They are what they usually are, which is well coached. They're extremely sound with their schemes. They're an incredibly tough outfit that plays with a bunch of effort and a bunch of energy, and it will be a tremendous challenge for us, as it is every week in the Big 12. It seems like they've found their identity offensively. Going with, how do you pronounce that? Roach? What is that? Grant. How do you pronounce that last name? I'm not quite sure how you do it. Redshirt freshman, but they're doing a lot of good things with them. They've got a bunch of depth. They got three really good running backs that they get the ball to a good bit. A couple of receivers that look good. Huge offensive line. They're extremely big. But really sound and well coached, and just do a good job. Defensively, same thing. We all know Wally does a great job for them, and they don't try to trick you. It's one of the, I don't want to say more simple schemes that's out there, but they do a great job of just holding their gaps up front, playing tough. The number 52, the George linebacker guy, is just a tremendous football player. Seems like they got a linebacker like that each and every year. That's about the same type of guy. So really do a good job. They're going to make it. They're going to try to take away the run. They're going to try to outgap us. They're going to try to bring down the safeties late. Play a lot of man coverage on the outside. Seems like there's a lot of Big 12 schools going to this. I don't know what why that's happening. But over the course of the last couple of years, there's a lot of quarters coverage, a lot of zone coverage, zone blitz stuff, and it seems like it's going more towards the man coverage tendencies of adding people in the box to try to take away the run and take your chances and play man on the outside. They do the same stuff. Special teams, really good in the return units. They've got 3 kickoff returns. When we watched it today with the guys, there's about 3 more that could have got out. So they do a great job in the return units. They've given up a couple from their coverage units. They've given up a little bit, but got a great punter. Doesn't have the numbers he had last year. I think he's dealt with some weather issues that have prevented him from getting the numbers that he had last year. But still a quality returner as well. So all 3 sides of the ball, same thing, well coached. Just tremendous try-hard guys that got some momentum last week after some tough losses this year. So they're probably as confident as they've been all year, and will come in here and fight hard for a win. Been telling the guys all week, basically since the Kansas loss, that this time of the year it doesn't really matter who you play. It's the team that has the most energy. It's the team that plays with the most effort and is willing to be tough and strain and fight your butt off for a win. Is the team that's going to win. So, questions?
How the guys responded from Kansas? I know you were pretty downhearted after that one. You bounced back. Do you feel like the time away has kind of given them an opportunity to refocus?
We'll find out. Had a good development. We got over Kansas the next day. In this game, you can't dwell on losses. You can't sit there and feel good about victories. You can for about 12 hours, and then you got to come in here and you got to get it over with, and you got to move on. So we did that last week. We've already talked about all this. Last week was a big developmental week that we practiced a lot of guys and focused on academics. And then, this week we're back to work. We don't have any other distractions with academics or anything socially going on. So it's been all about Iowa State for 2 days, and been relatively happy with the way the guys are preparing. And until we get smacked in the mouth on Saturday, we'll see how they respond.
Talk so much about that developmental time with some of the guys who are typically on scout team. Did you find anything out that maybe you didn't know by giving them more reps and more looks during that week?
No, it's 3 days, So you meet with them, you rep them, you try to teach them, and the developmental stuff is going to happen whether you. Just time is what they need more than anything, but just being able to practice them and meet with them for 3 days is certainly not going to hurt anything.
And it's all through football. Baylor beats you guys beat Baylor. I mean, Baylor beats you guys. You guys beat Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State beats Baylor. Kansas beats you guys. Iowa State beats Kansas. What's the explanation for why this happens almost every week somewhere?
Yeah, it's just parity in college football. I've been talking about it within the Big 12 a good bit, but the truth of the matter is it's happened within the Big East too for the 3 years prior to that. If you look back at what West Virginia's record was, there was the same thing was happening. We went go to the Orange Bowl. I mean, did you forget that we lost a couple of Big East games and then barely beat a couple of Big East teams to get to the Orange Bowl? It's just parity in college football. It's very evident in the 5 power conferences, but it obviously trickles down, into the non-power conferences, and then there's we've talked about FCS schools, beating FBS schools. That happened again last week. So just parity in college football, and you can't take anything for granted. And you got to prepare like it's, like it's important to you every week, or you will get beat. I don't think you can explain it any better than that. There's a few that can get away with just showing up and not playing particularly well and winning. It's just hard to do.
Talked about Iowa State wanting to take the run away. It's something they've had trouble doing this year. Do you feel like that's an area you guys can be successful with, an area you want to look to really take advantage of?
Yeah, I hope so, seeing how that's what we try to do every week. I mean, I say that, and I feel silly saying it because everybody tries to take the run away and everybody tries to run the ball. So there's a few exceptions, but we'll certainly try to do that. I've had relative success doing so. There's another trend, where a lot of these rushing yards are coming from quarterbacks too, which we don't have the luxury of. Or I could lie and say that we put in the zone read power with Paul, and that would be fun. But there is, just watching it, a lot of rushing yards that Iowa State's giving up has been from quarterbacks. So we got to, we're not going to try to get 300 yards rushing with trying to rush our quarterback a bunch to get him a whole bunch of that chunks of yardage. So we're going to do what we do offensively, which is try to establish the run. And when they start adding people too quickly, then we're going to throw the ball.
Dane, it's unusual that we catch you on a Tuesday when you've practiced twice already. Have you found out anything about your quarterback situation?
Yeah, it won't be Ford. It's just he's just not. He could go in and piece it together if we needed to, but we're just going to let him sit there and use him as we need to, and rep the other two right now. So they've taken 50% of the reps, and they're not a whole lot different now than they were a week ago or 2 weeks ago, other than Clint is cleared. So I don't know. Maybe we'll play him. Maybe we'll just rotate them. Just try to go every other play. We haven't tried that yet. They've done good. They've both done good. They're trying hard. They're practicing well. They're competing. They want to get better. I feel like we can win with either one. I really do. Clint's proven to where he's won a couple of Big 12 games. Paul's proven to where he can go in there and run the offense effectively if he stays within the scheme and what we're trying to ask him to do, which he's working hard on. Then I feel like we can win with him as well.
Dane, is it too simple, or is it unfair to say that, I mean, relative to that position at quarterback, this year has been like every other one for you? You had one guy, maybe as soon as August, that it could have been very different this year, or is that not fair to everything else that maybe missed by?
Well, there's a lot of, I mean, and I'm the first to say that we haven't had a winning performance offensively this year, not one time. So starts with me, haven't done a good job with it. It just all the dynamics combined has obviously not been a winning effort, and that's something that will get addressed in the offseason. But I don't know. It just point the fingers at me. I didn't do a good job of coaching them. But there's a lot of different dynamics that have to exist in order to be good and have winning performances offensively, of which we don't possess any other than the fact that the guys are trying hard.
What have you learned about the offense? I mean, what have you learned from this season? Obviously, it's been trying for you guys offensively that you can change heading into next year, that you can do differently to make sure that
it's continuity. Continuity is the biggest thing. That's and I don't anticipate ever being in the situation that we're in this year when it comes to continuity, lack of continuity, new quarterbacks, injured quarterbacks, new skill guys across the board, new coaches. I just don't anticipate this ever happening again.
What's the senior class meant to you, and do you think the program is a smaller unit, but they were freshman and sophomore when you took over the program, coaching change, confidence change?
Yeah, it's been tough for them, and I appreciate these guys. There's about 24 of them last year. I said the same thing about, and then this year there's I think 14 of them. The only one that doesn't fall into this category is Charles Sims. But, a collection of guys that, have been through a lot of adversity, coaching changes and conference changes. I mean, there's a lot of change going on that certainly appreciate everything that they've done, working hard. Proud of how they're all doing academically. They're all real close to either have gotten their degree or going to achieve that. So, just like every senior day across the country, our job as coaches and players is to put our best foot forward Saturday and to try to sit them out on top. Last week that usually we do this some in the bowl game too, but this one's a little different because there's no bowl game. That this week here is the last week that we're gonna spend time together as a team, so make this week count.
I think earlier you said that Sims is good for younger guys. I think you said that Smallwood kind of does everything he does. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was what you said. It seems like you're using Smallwood similarly to, especially in the passing. Is that fair comparison moving forward?
Very much so. I had Charles when he was a true freshman too, and there's no difference. Charles has been able to have been able to endure 4 long seasons and a lot of touches and a lot of ball games and has handled it unbelievably well and will do it in the NFL for a long time. Wendell, as a true freshman, is no different than Charles and has used Charles being in that room to his advantage by just watching how he, his work ethic and how he does things, how he attacks the day every single day, how he attacks the game, how he practices, how he plays. And then seeing the versatility that he plays with, it's going to help in recruiting as well. Not a lot of people that do what we do with them too. A lot of people have some receivers that they kind of stick in the backfield like we did with Tavon. But having the versatility to be an every down back and run between the tackles and then also be able to catch the ball out of the backfield and then line it up outside and be a receiver as well is pretty impressive.
Dane, injury report, you had a lot of guys last week, or a few guys last week, who said couldn't have played if you'd play. What about this week?
I guess the questionable guys are Cook's questionable, Fight's questionable, Bruce is questionable, Worley is questionable, have not practiced have not practiced to the point where they can play. We're still at Tuesday against Unique. Then I'm talking to you before, because I've got a couple of days with them already. But those 4 are questionable. In addition to the guys that are down for good. Barber had surgery yesterday. KJ's still being monitored by our doctors, and obviously is out for the year. Christian Brown will be back in January. Malik Greaves went down with the hip, which this is his redshirt year, but it's prohibiting him from developing. He'll be back hopefully around March. In addition to Nana and Petaway and Tonkery, those guys.
Riggs still out?
No, I think Riggs back. Yeah, he's been out there. They did an MRI on him to make sure, and he'll be fine. So he hadn't played ball in 3-4 weeks. So I don't know what's going to happen once he actually pops somebody. You can say he's cleared for contact, but practice hits are different than game hits. But he has practice, and he should be back, yes.
We've got Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. I'm not sure what your plans will be to celebrate it, but what are you thankful for this year?
Well, it talked about the seniors. Always got to be thankful for them, and I'm thankful for the Big 12. I really am. I mean, it's challenging, but we're relevant, and we're learning a lot about ourselves as far as being in a power conference. And I really do. I mean, it seems like I always complain about it as far as where we're at, but that's not true. I mean, I think we're going to be extremely competitive and have a lot of the right pieces in place. I think we're a better football team this year than we were last year, minus, maybe 1 or 2 guys. Just all sides of the ball in the program, the direction of the program, the coaches, the schemes, and all that stuff. So thankful to be where we're at, and, looking forward to move forward. Thank you.